Hello my dear friends and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. We have some major information for Ahsoka Season 2 and Dave Filoni's movie. Rosario Dawson, Hayden Christensen and the creator of the show himself, Dave Filoni, sat down with Josh Horowitz on the Happy Sad Confused podcast, and a lot was revealed. For one thing, Dave Filoni confirms Season 2 of the 2023 Disney Plus show is his current priority, and he then teased he's already gotten a head start on his Star Wars movie, the one that is said to bring together the entirety of the Mandoverse era, The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and don't forget, later in 2024, we're still set to get Skeleton Crew. He said it's all very exciting stuff, and he's already got the opening of his movie in mind, the first shot, and he says he loves it.
Very exciting stuff. I work in very long threads. I will say I have an opening I really like quite a bit. I'm very excited about it for that picture. And I'm excited about the potential of just doing it.
And we all know he's a fan of poetry and matching his ideas to George Lucas's work. He says he trusts the process and things are definitely moving steadily along. Considering how divisive the Acolyte is proving to be, this is very welcome news. I think we all needed something like this. Just a breather, something to reinvigorate us. Dave also talks on the subject of maturity in Star Wars, reiterating it has its place, but it shouldn't be the only genre that drives the franchise forwards. He praises Tony Gilroy, before then diving into a discussion about how taste in movies and shows changes as we get older, and he's right. Now on the subject of George himself, he says he still contacts him from time to time, asking for his advice, but only for the big stuff. The most revealing thing Dave said is that George's ideas, if he were to make them today, would be surprising. In other words, an even bigger deviation from what fans expect, from what fans think Star Wars, George Lucas Star Wars should be, because George was always innovating and reinventing what Star Wars was. And the second major update is for Ahsoka's second season. This comes from Cinema Blend. Ahead of Ahsoka Season 2, the show's composer Kevin Kiner has shared that Dave Filoni's already started preparing him for the next 8 episodes. This is massive. It goes hand in hand with speculation based on recent actors' comments, their recent cancellations, that pre-production on the second season is going to begin very soon. Excellent news. Here's what they said. Following guest appearances in The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett, 2023 saw Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka Tano take center stage in her own show. Season 2 is now confirmed, and we have a great update. During Cinema Blend's conversation with the legendary Star Wars composer, who's also worked on the animated shows, they talked about the challenges of scoring for Grand Admiral Thrawn, and that's when he spilled the beans. The musical foundation for Ahsoka Season 2 has already begun, and Dave Filoni is preparing to get started. Here's the quote. Dave has built a playlist of music to listen to. It's all over the place. John Williams, Max Richter, all kinds of stuff that was just super cool. He's alluded to a few things, and I can't tell you what he said. From everything he's telling me, what he's writing is going to be a lot of fun. And, you know, he wrote all 8 episodes of the first season of Ahsoka. If they're already talking about a score, then on top of The Mandalorian and Grogu going into production, Ahsoka Season 2 is about to get underway. And recently Rosario Dawson said, in the second season of the show, Ahsoka is much more relaxed, much more at peace with who she is, and she's made peace with her past. So we're about to see another evolution of this fan-favorite character. In other Star Wars movie news, according to insider Jeff Snyder, Shawn Levy may not direct Avengers 5, and instead go straight to his unknown, mysterious Star Wars movie, the one that could be a sequel movie, one that connects to the one by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. And so now, my dear friends, the Acolyte. This is a question I regularly see come up. Which familiar characters, and by familiar characters we're mainly talking about George Lucas Star Wars but also sequel trilogy, are alive during the Acolyte? And you might be saying, sequel trilogy? That's like 150 years later. Sure, but there is one. In the past we've spoken about Jedi and Sith characters, but what about some other familiar faces? We begin with Maz Kanata. The pirate queen herself is of an unknown, mysterious, Force-adjacent species which can live a very long time. In terms of what she's up to during the events of The Acolyte, 100 years before the Phantom Menace. The High Republic databank says this: perceptive and wise, Maz Kanata is not a Jedi, but she does have the Force. She has gained the respect of scoundrels, smugglers, and Jedi over the course of her long life. Based on the mid-rim planet of Takodana, as we see in The Force Awakens, Maz welcomes everyone to her castle, where she runs a crew with the likes of Dexter Jetster. And there is our next familiar face. You might remember Dex from Episode 2 Attack of the Clones, Obi-Wan in Coco Town at Dexter's Diner. Dexter was an excellent hyperspace prospector, an even better storyteller, an expert of antiques, an excellent judge of character. Dexter is very perceptive of his surroundings. Then there are some more unlikely characters. Jabba the Hutt. By the time of his death in Return of the Jedi, Jabba was about 600. He's 500 during the time of the Acolyte. Hutts could live 1,000 years. Kymir's apothecary shop owner persona already mentioned smuggling for the Hutts. It's an unlikely one, but you never know. Osha's colleague on the Neimoidian ship mentioned Nar Shaddaa, the smuggler's moon in Hutt space, the notorious moon of Nal Hutta, the homeworld of the Hutts. We saw some Hutts in the Book of Boba Fett. It's not impossible for the Acolyte. And then of course we have Chewbacca. Chewie is about 200 by the time of A New Hope. There is no real concrete reason to expect Chewie in a show like this, considering we already have one Wookiee who is a Jedi. Chewie was not. We don't know if there's any relationship between Kalnaka and Chewie. The planet Kalnaka is on his Kofar, but if we go to Kashyyyk, who knows? I have seen some speculation we might see some of the kids from Young Jedi Adventures, but apart from Nubs, it's extremely unlikely. Young Jedi Adventures takes place 100 years before the Acolyte, so I don't think the human and Pantoran characters are alive, but we don't know how long the species of Nubs lives. He's a Pooba. Do they live as long as Wookiees? No one knows. And the one character I know you're waiting for, Professor Huyang from the Ahsoka series. It'd be amazing and a no-brainer to put him in the Acolyte, teaching younglings to construct their own lightsabers. Huyang was built 25,000 years BBY. He served the Jedi Order for centuries, assisting younglings constructing their own weapons, and also as an architect droid, helping various Jedi on missions, especially ones concerning kyber crystals. Again, another easy win if they do it. But those are just some of the main characters from other Star Wars projects who you may not have known were alive during the time of the Acolyte. Share your thoughts in the comments down below, guys. What do you think? Do you want to see any of these? Let me know. If you enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.